Hello, thank you for coming to another episode of Inside the Photographer Studio. My name is Oliver Powell. Today is more of a lesson on some principles of photography as opposed to how to color correct and fix an image. This is a lesson today on shutter speed and how to use it effectively to create um, an image, a photograph. So let's get started. So this was a photo here that I took while visiting Kitchener a couple weeks ago at Victoria Park, and it was a bright sunny day, so there's lots of light, and that's important because if you're using fast or slow shutter speeds or photographs in general, it all depends on how much light is available. Now, I want to pay attention to my cursor up here on the upper right-hand corner. You'll see the details of the image itself. The ISO is how sensitive to light your camera is. So back in the film days, you had to think about what lighting conditions you're going to shoot in, and lower number ISO, so ISO 100 would be the least sensitive to light. Now, you might want to use that if you're using in a studio or bright outdoor conditions as these were, and they're really good for portraits because it's just the little bit more technical side of things. The crystals of film, the crystal silver is really fine and really small, and that gives you a lower ISO number. I don't know what ISO stands for off the top of my head. I will research it and put it in the description of the video. Now, we also have the f-stop, and the f-stop is the amount of the size of the aperture, rather. So that affects depth of field, which I'll cover in another lesson. But if it coincides with the shutter speed, which is in fractions of a second, and if you see, this is 1/5 of a second, which sounds like a lot, but when you're dealing with something as fast as light, it's an eternity, and that's what I was going for here. And this other number here is focal length. This is my lens. It's 18 to 135, and I was zoomed out 135 millimeters. So it's a very narrow depth of field of view. And so as you can see, 1/5 of a second, the water was able to move significantly fast. And you see that movement. You see all the water droplets and everything. And you can see that it shows you the essence of movement, which is what I was going for. And you see the rock, which isn't moving, is crystal clear. So that's a way to use time in a sense to show movement or shutter speed. So we'll open this image, but I also want to show you a contrast of high shutter speed, which you can see in this one here. So we're looking for image 724. So we're at 7, 28, 27, 26, 25, 24. And here we go. You have a much higher shutter speed, a 1/1600th of a second. And you see a wider aperture, and you also see a higher ISO. That's my camera. I had it on automatic ISO, but it did that because it obviously has less time to expose, and it needed to be more light sensitive. So it went to a higher ISO. And also you can see they're totally different images because I changed my focal length to 62 millimeters, so it's a wider angle. So let's do a little color correcting, shall we? Just no, I don't need any of this stuff. Let's see if we can. No, I can't. Well, I mean, I'd have to get rid of a whole bunch of other stuff here. I don't need that. Let's fit screen. There we go. That's more like it. Now, again, we're going to start off with levels, and we just want to play around with it. No, yeah, we want to bring up the contrast just a little, like so. Curves, a little bit more like that, maybe. So we go too high one way or too low the other way. So just play with it, just a little there. Exposure, I think I'll leave alone here with saturation. Let's see here. I don't know if I want to do. Let's start off with just some reds. Let's bring out the red in that rock, just a little. And blues, the water, not too much, not too little, maybe just a little bit. Color balance, I think the color balance is fine. We don't want to make it a black and white. I think that's good for right now. I want to try something else. I was playing around with Unsharp Mask. Oh, we want to make sure we're on the background layer. Otherwise, you know, if it's on one of these adjustment layers, it's not going to do anything. So let's see. So you go to Filter, Sharpen, Unsharp Mask, and I played around with this. It's just going to give a little bit more of a sharper. Yeah, we can see I saw a big change. Yeah, so you can turn it up. Oh yeah, it's way too much though. You can see that it's. So I did the radius. I did the radius at 150.4 pixels. We don't want. We just want just a little bit. Yeah, so you play around with it until you get it to where you like it. It's too much. So if we have it all over there, that looks horrible. We just want, I guess the threshold would be the amount it does it, not the percentage. It's a very complicated algorithm. There we go. I think that looks a little bit better. And I think that's enough for right now. So as you can see, did the hue and saturation, just brought out some more of those colors a little bit more, did the curves, a little bit more contrast, and we made it a little bit sharper with the Unsharp Mask. So I think that's looking pretty good, and I think that would be a good stopping point right now. So as to recap what we did, I explained the difference of shutter speed and how you can use shutter speed effectively to create a look. In this case, a capture motion of a subject, in this case water flowing over rock. Concludes my lesson on shutter speed. I hope that you found this enjoyable and informative. So thank you for watching. Hope you have a nice evening. This has been me, Oliver Powell, and you've been watching Inside the Photographer's Studio. Bye.